You've always been the nice one, haven't you? You know, the person who's always there to help, never says no, that reliable friend, the dependable colleague. But if you're totally honest with yourself, you're exhausted. You feel stretched thin, a little unseen. And deep down, there's a part of you that's starting to feel resentful. What if I told you that what you've been calling kindness and helpfulness is actually a fear based habit that's draining your very life force? Now, this isn't about becoming selfish. It's about understanding the huge difference between a genuine desire to help and a compulsive need to please. And today, we're not just going to talk about it, we're going to break it down and give you real, practical strategies to finally break free, get your energy back, and start living a life that feels like your own. So let's start with a critical difference that trips us all up: being a kind person versus being a people pleaser. Now, on the surface, they almost look the same, don't they? Both involve giving, helping, showing up for others, but underneath, they're driven by completely different motivations. You see, general kindness comes from a place of fullness. It's when you help someone because you actually have the energy, the time, and a genuine desire to do it without expecting anything in return. The act of giving feels good all on its own, and afterward, you feel more connected and fulfilled. It's a choice you make because you feel secure in yourself. Now, people pleasing? Not so much. That's not driven by generosity. It's driven by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being disliked. A people pleaser often says yes out loud when their entire body is screaming, "No!" They might look agreeable on the outside, but internally, they're dealing with a mix of anxiety, resentment, and eventually, total burnout. Sound familiar? Do you agree to plans you have zero energy for? Do you take on extra work because you're afraid to disappoint your boss? Do you bite your tongue and silence your own options and opinions just to keep the peace? That's classic people-pleasing, friends. It's a pattern where you end up sacrificing your own needs on the altar of someone else's approval, outsourcing your self-worth just to feel okay. See, the problem is this strategy always backfires. Instead of creating real connection, it builds resentment. Instead of making you feel worthy, it just reinforces the belief that your own needs don't matter. It's a draining, unsustainable way to live. But listen, it's not your fault. This is a learned behavior. And like any other habit, it can be unlearned. To do that, we first have to get to the root of it. So why do we become people pleasers anyway? I don't think anybody wakes up and decides, I think I'll live my entire life today to please everyone else instead of myself. People pleasing is almost always a survival skill we picked up in childhood. I know I did. For many, it's a response to trauma. If you grew up in a home where your caregivers were emotionally distant, critical, or even abusive, you might have learned that your safety depended on being good, quiet, easy to deal with. Expressing your own needs could have been met with anger or dismissal. So, you learn to suppress your true self and become a chameleon, adapting to what other people's needs were, what others needed to feel safe. It's a difficult spot and very uncomfortable. You see, low self-esteem is another huge factor. If you've got the message early on that your worth was conditional, that you were only good when you were helpful or making others happy, you internalized that. I know I did. I even used to inject humor to make people laugh so that they'd think I'm funny and want me around. Your sense of value gets tied to external approval, creating a deep-seated fear that if you stop giving, if you stop being funny, people won't like you, or worse, they'll leave you. Now, understanding these roots isn't about placing blame. It's about having compassion for your own story. You developed this pattern not because you were weak, but because at one point it was the smartest way you knew to protect yourself. It served a purpose. But now, that same strategy is what's keeping you stuck. It's getting in the way of real relationships and a life that truly fulfills you. So now that we got to the why, let's get to the how. How do we start taking this apart? Well, breaking free from people-pleasing is a journey, friends. It's not a magic trick. You're not going to snap your fingers and it's all going to change. It's a necessary step for those of us in the fourth quarter, believe me. It takes practice, patience, and a lot of self-compassion, and that might be something you're just not used to. So here are 4 real-world strategies you can start using today. And the first strategy is the pause. Now, people pleasers usually have a knee-jerk yes. A request comes in, and the word is out of your mouth before you even have a chance to think about it. The most powerful tool against this is the pause. And it's simple. Create a little space between a request and your response. So, when someone asks for something instead of the automatic yes, try one of these. Just take a short pause and say something like, you know what, let me check my schedule and I'll get right back to you. Or, I need to think about that. Can I let you know in a bit? Now, it's important that you follow up. Don't just say that. These aren't just words, these are actions. These are simple, non-confrontational replies that give you a bit of that breathing room. And this tiny habit does 2 amazing things. First, it breaks the automatic pleasing response. And second, it gives you time to actually check in with yourself. In that little bit of space, you can ask the most important question. Do I want to do this, or do I feel like I have to? You can consider your energy, your priorities, and what you really want. The pause is your gateway to making conscious choices instead of reacting out of fear. The second strategy is start small with low-stake no's. If you spent your life saying yes, saying no can feel terrifying. It can bring up so much guilt. So don't start with the big scary stuff. Like you don't have to say no to your boss, your parent, your close family member on day 1. Just start small. So for example, when a cashier asks you, would you like to sign up for a store credit card today? Just say, no thanks. If a friend offers you a second drink that you don't really want, try, no, I'm good for now, thank you, but I'll try one in the future. And when you get a text asking you for a favor you can't do, practice declining without the 5-paragraph apology. And I'm telling you, I really had to work on that one because I was terrified that the person asking would think I was just simply trying to get out of helping, which wasn't true. I was just petrified that they would think poorly of me. Every time you say a small no and see there's really no crisis, well, you build confidence. You're literally teaching yourself that setting a boundary doesn't equal disaster. These small wins add up and strengthen your no muscle. The third strategy is see guilt as a good sign. That might sound a little strange, but hear me out. For a people pleaser, guilt is the alarm bell. The second we feel it, we assume we did something wrong. We think, I feel guilty for saying no, so I must be a bad person. This is one of the biggest mental hurdles to get over. Believe me. So you have to start with redefining guilt. When you start setting boundaries, feeling guilty isn't a sign that you're wrong. It's a sign that you're growing. It means you're going against years of programming. Think of it like stretching a muscle that's been stuck in one position for a long time. And if you've ever been in a cast or a sling for a period of time, you know what I'm talking about. It's going to be uncomfortable at first. But the next time you say no and that wave of guilt hits, just pause for a second and remind yourself, this feeling isn't a fact. This is my old programming trying to reel me back in. This discomfort is temporary. It's a sign that I'm healing. Remember, you aren't responsible for how other people react. Their disappointment is theirs to manage. What they may tell others about the new you, that's not your worry. Your job is to honor your own needs. And finally, the fourth strategy is get to know yourself again. This is huge. One of the saddest side effects of long-term people-pleasing is that you can completely lose touch with who you are. You spend so much time focused on what others want that you forget to listen to yourself. Reconnecting with your own preferences, your own needs and desires is key. So start by asking yourself small questions all day long. What do I really want for lunch today? Like what music do I want to listen to right now? How do I want to spend the next hour? Baby steps. They might seem tiny, but they are powerful acts of rebuilding your relationship with yourself. Another thing you might want to consider is journaling. It's an amazing way to do it. Take 5 minutes a day to answer, what do I need right now? Well, at first the answer might be blank, like, I don't know. And that's okay. But keep asking. Slowly but surely, the voice of your authentic self will start to get louder, and you'll remember what brings you joy. I know what I did. I went fishing today, and it felt really good because I haven't been fishing for a long time. I loved it. Breaking free from people-pleasing is one of the greatest acts of self-love that there is. It's a journey from fear to freedom, from resentment to authenticity, and from looking for your worth outside to knowing that you are already worthy. Remember, this isn't about not caring for others. It's not about being inflexible or unwilling to compromise. It's nothing like that. But it's about being able to care from a place of fullness, not depletion. It's about understanding that your yes means nothing if you can't also confidently say no sometimes. Path might be uncomfortable. You'll probably feel some guilt. You might even disappoint a few people who are used to the old you. But on the other side of that discomfort is a version of you who is free, who trusts themselves, and who is living a life that is a true reflection of who they are. As we navigate this fourth quarter together, we absolutely deserve that life, don't you think? And the whole process is so much easier when you know you're not in it alone. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these strategies hit you the hardest? Which was the most helpful? Have you tried anything like that? Do you have some other things you'd like to share? What's one small step you can take this week to honor yourself? Sharing your story could be the thing that inspires someone else, and that's what this channel is all about. So if this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on building self-worth and making the fourth quarter our best quarter. Thank you so much for being here, friends, and we will talk again soon.